Festival 2011 and to this open forum organized by Mumbai Film Festival and IFW in collaboration this time, this particular one from KASHISH. Now, the topic is over there. Before I pass on the mic to the moderator, I would like Nisha to very briefly introduce every one of them. They are very well-known people. They are profound minds who would be talking about the topic, and you can have a 1 hour of enjoyable session. We will first have the people speak, and then in the last 15 to 20 minutes, we can open the floor to the audience. Please ask your questions clearly and pointedly with your name and whoever you are announced. Thank you very much. I'm Brahmanand Singh, and I welcome you on behalf of my friends in the team, Ejaz Khan, George Matthew, Priyam Galav, Nisha Gulati, Rupali Mehta, and of course, Anu Rangachari, the festival face here. Over to Nisha, and have a lovely 1 hour, all of you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome panelists. Let's introduce every one of these gentlemen today. We have Mr. Rajit Kapur in the center. National award-winning theater and film actor. He is well known for his award-winning portrayal of Mahatma Gandhi in the 1996 film, The Making of the Mahatma. However, what remains not well known is that his fine portrayal of a gay man in a short film Baath and the lead role of a homosexual poet in the yet-to-be-released film Do Paise Ki Dhoop, Char Aane Ki Barish. And we have Mr. Rajeev Masand, who's our moderator for today. Rajeev is perhaps the only entertainment journalist in the country to have had two eponymous film shows, Masand Ki Pasand on Star News and Rajeev Masand Ki Pasand, currently on IBN 7. What has characterized Rajeev's career throughout his honesty and rigid standards of excellence. The only standard that matters when he looks at a film is his own. Then we have Mr. Onir, who is a critically acclaimed director in addition to wielding the power as a feature film director and has donned many caps, including producer, screenwriter, and editor. Having edited numerous films and assisting Kalpana Lajmi on Daman, he went on to directing his first feature film, My Brother Nikhil, which won him praise and accolades world over. He was awarded with the Karamveer Puraskar, the Best Film Award at the London Asian Film Festival, and River to River Florence Indian Film Festival, amongst numerous other awards. And we have Mr. Tarun Mansukhani, who is a Bollywood director and writer. He went to the Lawrence School, Sanwar. His career has been highlighted by the direction of many famous films, especially as assistant director in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Chief Assistant Director in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, Associate Director in Kal Ho Na Ho, Associate Director in Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, Director of Dostana, and is currently working on the script of Dostana 2. And Sridhar Rangayan, filmmaker who has made award-winning festival hit films like Gulabi Aina, Yours Emotionally, and 68 Pages that offer sensitive and positive portrayals of gay and transgender people. He is also the festival director of KASHISH Mumbai International Queer Film Festival, which brings international queer films to India and provides a mainstream platform for Indian queer films. And last but not least, Mr. Aseem Chabbra, who is a freelance writer based in New York, who has previously written for the New York Times, the Boston Globe, Philadelphia Inquirer, and Time Out New York. He's also a celebrated columnist for the popular Mumbai Mirror. In addition to being a professional journalist, Aseem was a voiceover artist for the award-winning 2008 animated feature film Sita Sings the Blues, which has traveled to over 200 film festivals. Big round of applause for each and every one of these gentlemen, and now on to you.
Now that you have met our very esteemed panel of speakers, let me just quickly run you through what we're hoping to shed some light on today. Is the portrayal of queer characters in Indian cinema fair. I use the word queer because gay and lesbian doesn't encompass every sexual identity that we'd like to address today, including transgenders, hijras. While some stereotypes associated with queer characters have been broken, there is clearly still a long road ahead. I think we'll all safely agree. My speakers would like me to pose a question with which they will start their opening remarks. Maybe I should start with a generic question. Really, ideally to the three of you, to the four of you really, is there a latent homophobia in the film industry because of which perhaps there aren't sensitive portrayals of queer characters? The films that are made, we repeatedly see the same actors doing them, perhaps performing queer characters, perhaps performing queer roles. And maybe to Tarun directly, Tarun, I'm going to come straight to you. You made a film called Dostana. The final moment, we don't see the two actors kiss. So even in a film that is about a gay theme, is there perhaps latent homophobia?
Am I working? Hello. Hi, yes, I'm the one who exploited the gay angle. That's me. They're the serious filmmakers. Yes, there is a certain amount of homophobia, not just within the industry, but within the country itself. As far as the kiss goes in the climax, we are still about to get to man and woman kissing. We have a long way to go. So to get to two men to kiss was a censor problem, and if you wanted to reach a lot more people, I'd rather not the scene get cut than just show their backs. I'd rather at least have that moment on screen rather than none at all. So yeah, there is a lot of homophobia within the country, but I guess with this four sitting on this table, we'll make sure that it goes away soon.
Onir, I want to come to you next. Tarun said something interesting. He said the censor problem didn't stop you from showing a man-on-man kiss in your film, I Am. Also, what I want to ask you, Onir, is what is the sense of resentment, what is the sense of hesitation you find when you approach actors to play queer characters in your films?
I think, like, having started with my brother Nikhil and again once back for I Am, one of the common, like, problems that one faced was an absolute no. Like, I don't think Bollywood is homophobic in terms of dealing with people, but I think it's absolutely homophobic when it comes to dealing with films, because it's everything boils down then to economics, and that's when all the homophobia comes in. And always facing a no first, starting with the financer, where it's always, I mean, it's not changed in so many years. And coming to actors also, you know who would probably say yes, you know, people who are not absolutely stars, people who are known actors, established, and they have been always pushing the boundaries for the kind of roles they do, don't really care about how people, you know, perceive them. And it limits your possibility, but at the same time, I feel fortunate there are a few people like that. I was extremely worried about the censor board for the kiss. And though we got an A certificate without any cuts, but one of the facts is that a lot of people would not come and watch the film because it's immediately, though I Am was not a, you know, quote unquote gay film, but people would just perceive because of that one story, even the kiss, that it is, you know, a gay film and not come for it. And apart from it, right now, I think for the last 3 months, I'm trying to get a UA certificate, which I find absolutely ridiculous that, you know, what is obscene? This whole thing of two men kissing obscene, I think we need to redefine the term obscenity, where so much of violence, so much of dirt outside, corruption, for me that's obscene, not two people kissing. But yes, that's a big problem, and it becomes a big question mark for me, you know, when you face problem right from satellite rights to distribution, exhibition, finance, casting, that how do you do another film where if you want to have queer characters who have substantial role, how do you deal with it?
Rajit, I'm hoping you're going to be able to shed some light on the fact, are we going to see in, I say Hindi cinema broadly, a character who's gay and he just happens to be gay, that is not who he is and that's not all that he is? Can we see, will we see characters where the sexual identity, his orientation is one part of who he is? Unfortunately in our movies, if he's gay, that is who he is, that is his identity, and that's all he serves, that's all the purpose he serves in a Hindi film.
I think you've said it in one of the sentences you just used, that if a character happens to be gay. And the script that I'm referring to because of the role that I've just done is a film by Dipti Naval that has not yet hit the screens, hopefully next month if all goes well. Is a film called Do Paise Ki Dhoop, Char Aane Ki Barish. It's about a woman who happens to be a prostitute, a man who is a lyricist but happens to be gay. And it's a sensitive story of them trying to make a life together. And I know that Dipti was grappling with this script of getting an actor to do the role. I only came as a bounce board to help her with the scripting, and one night when we were just going over the scenes and trying to improve on the script, she said, "Will you play it?" So I said, "Don't go back on your word." But I know that she had mentioned that earlier, that I can't find a marketable actor or a marketable good actor to play it because it has to be done sensitively. And once I sort of took on that onus and the challenge of doing it, I was very clear about one thing, that Dipti, it has to be as normal as anyone else. If we're going to get him just because he happens to be gay and therefore play him effeminate gay, camp gay, going over the top in any way, how we often do see portrayals on television or film, then it's just going to become a joke. So apart from the slight nuances of wherever required, the idea was to make him as anybody else here or around. And we were very clear that he just happens to have a sexual preference for men, period. And that was the intention, and that's how we've done it. And she's done it very sensitively. Unfortunately, only people in America have seen the film in about 6 cities, and it's not been shown here. But I'm glad that she stuck to her guns, because there were a lot of kind of opinions and objections from various quarters saying that, no, you can't do that, you can't do that. We didn't want to underline that fact that he is homosexual or he has a sexual preference for men or whatever.
Sridhar, with your experience in short films, tell us, do short films, do documentaries push the envelope further than mainstream cinema does here in India?
Okay. Rajeev, before I come to what you asked, I just want to respond to your previous question about is there homophobia within the Bollywood community. For me, it's not really homophobia as much as anxiety. When people want to play gay or lesbian characters, there's a lot of anxiety. I remember when Dostana came up and I was one of the TV shows, John Abraham also was there on the same show. And he was asked very specifically, will you do another gay character? So he said that well, I did this, but then again, it has to be a fantastic script, it has to be a fantastic producer, it should be good money, it should be a great production house. So I was asking, would you ask all this to play a cop all over again? Why does all these parameters come to fore when you have to play a homosexual character or a gay character? So, but I understand the anxiety. I'm not saying that I don't understand it, but I do understand the anxiety. And I don't know when this anxiety will go away. I think it's not just films, but again, what kind of advocacy we do in normalizing gay or lesbian people. It's about that. If we look at gay and lesbian people as normal, I think actors will just come up and do that. In terms of short films, in fact, I think most of the short films or documentaries are really honest and very sensitive. And they approach the subject with a lot of groundwork in terms of what the issues are. But the point is, these films don't reach people. So where do you show that? We at Kashish, the first year when we were programming films, and I said, are there any Indian films from India at all? And we had 22 films from India that day, in that particular year. But nobody knew about it, nobody had seen it. We showed it at Kashish in 4 days. But then what happens further down? How does everybody see it around? So for us, I think there are a lot of huge amount of people making gay and lesbian and transgender portrayals in short films and documentaries. But how do we kind of get it going to be seen? That's a big question.
Aseem, you program South Asian films for international film festivals. My question really is, how do Indian films, Indian queer films, compare to international films that one sees at festivals from across the world?
I want to address the issue that Sridhar and Tarun also mentioned. It's not a question just of homophobia. I think the understanding of gay lifestyle, gay and lesbian, queer lifestyle as we know in the West, it's still not really understood. In big cities like in Bombay, when you have educated people sitting here, they have a very clear idea of what we're talking about. And that's the issue. It trickles down to at every level then, in terms of portrayal and everything else. Your question about how do South Asian films compare to, we have not made a Brokeback Mountain yet. Everybody knows that. And it's really unfortunate that there was a film that was released. I don't know if it was released yet at all, but it was shown at a film festival. Maina Mukherjee was sitting there, programmed a film called Jaane Kyun, Na Jaane Kyun. And somebody went to Huffington Post and referred to it as the Indian Brokeback Mountain, and based on that, it has traveled.
It's a label that's tough.
Yeah, and it's far, obviously, whoever put the label doesn't understand what Brokeback Mountain is. There's a long way to go. I mean, there's some remarkable work that has been done. I mean, Onir's, both my brother Nikhil and, the entire I Am, but especially the I Am Omar, which we had programmed 2 years ago, very honest portrayal. Would match with anything at the international film festivals, but there's a long way to go. But that's not just in cinema, the country has a long way to go. I was at the Gay Pride March in Delhi in November last year. It was a lot of fun. There were about 2,000 people. But in New York City, when we have the Gay Pride Parade, we have, 500,000 people. So there's a big gap as such. So
I think we can open the floor to questions if there are any. Sure.
Hi, I'm Kamaini. I'm a human rights lawyer and activist and a film buff. First question to organizers: why there isn't a woman in the panel? Why isn't there a woman? And why aren't we talking about lesbians and others also? And secondly, I was one of the lucky ones to see the film at Yale University. Where Deepthi was there, I was there at that time. Definitely sensitively portrayed, but it also talked about sex work and disability issues among them, yeah? And when Aseem is saying that the society itself is saying, but let me tell that, everybody knows that last year it was decriminalized. The Supreme Court has done it, right? I wish the film workers could also focus on the issue of mental health and the queer movement, How the parents and even the Indians still think that it's a mental illness. In DSM-3, which is the American Psychiatrist, dictionary, where still many psychiatrists think it's a personality disorder. So, it's just a suggestion that if filmmakers could also look at that aspect. And for the women, why a woman is not there?
Because I'm one of the person who put together the panel here, so I'm a culprit in that sense. Okay. Now the point is, we had Meenakshi Shetty on the panel, but she couldn't make it. So we did have a woman. Okay. But again, at the same time, I definitely want it to be broad-based, but I also don't have a transgender representative sitting here. But primarily at this point of time, we are looking at people who are film professionals at this point of time, who have either worked as film professionals or critics. That's one of the things we were trying to put together. And frankly, I don't know any lesbian filmmaker or a filmmaker who has made a lesbian film. No, I'm not saying, in India, to be brought in Bombay at this point of time, I'm sorry. There are very few, in fact, if you really count on your fingertips, you have 5 which happened way long back. Then you have a girlfriend, which is let's not talk about it kind of thing. Okay. And we have Sancharam from US again. So there's very few lesbian portrayals, first of all, in Indian cinema. For me, that's an issue. There's been a lot of work around the documentary and short film genre, which I definitely hope to kind of bring it to. I totally take your point that there should have been more women voices here at this point. Totally.
Hi, thanks Aseem for bringing up Jaane Kyun Na Jaane Kyun. But I'd like to say that while India has not made a Brokeback Mountain, it has made a commercially successful regional film, which has done tremendously well. We premiered Onir's I Am, which has done reasonably well, I'm assuming and I'm hoping. But also Rituparno Ghosh's Just Another Love Story, which absolutely was a blockbuster hit in Calcutta, showed to packed audiences. I was there for the premiere for it, and has been received tremendously well. Every producer in town in Calcutta or West Bengal has wanted to produce a film like that. So I think that the commercial success of a film, while is certainly, there are all of these reservations about the subject, but it's eventually about a story being told well. And queer, not queer is, I think, secondary. I think that it just requires more courageous sort of filmmakers. And speaking to Tarun's film, I think that while there were a lot of reservations that we heard about it, I think what it really did do was bring homosexuality out of the closet in a very, very big way in this country. So, and it was, of course, a huge commercial success. So, just talking about that. And I'd like to say that there are a lot of lesbian feature films, if not fictional, but certainly I Am by Sonali Gulati is currently traveling all through festivals and again is doing very, very well.
There's also, in addition to Just Another Love Story, the other film that Rituparna acted in, Memories of March, which also was a gay portrayal. And in fact, the question that you asked earlier about whether a person can be incidentally gay, especially in Memories of March, Rituparna's character just happens to be gay and he works in an ad agency and everybody around him, his colleagues and all, are perfectly fine with his sexuality. That's just one part of his definition, really. But I don't know if those films, did they open in Bombay at all?
They did, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
they released in theaters too. No, Memories in March was there for a couple of days in a theater, yeah.
And Just Another Love Story, did it come here?
No, that's didn't come.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Georgina. I wanted to add to Kamari's point, I think the reason why we don't see that much lesbian films is because the lesbian movement or the women, we have women are not that visible overall in India. There's a larger visibility issue that needs to be addressed. Then I think maybe cinema will sort of start reflecting it, in activism, in just in spaces that are available to women to be out, and also the economic issue. So I think it's quite a complex situation. It's not that easy, and I don't know if it's fair to put the onus only on filmmakers for that.
Actually, I need to add one small point to what Georgina said. It's also let's not talk about just a gay film or a lesbian film. Let's talk about small little portrayals in other films. If you see Honeymoon Travels or you see Rules, or even I think there was a interesting lesbian portrayal, very small one. I think it was a film called Mumbai Matinee, which, but a very small character, but nevertheless she's there. And for me that's interesting that there are characters, subplots which are coming up in mainstream films which address, some of these characters. They may not be very full-fledged developed roles, but they're there. That's interesting for us to really look at also.
Hi, my name is Vivek, and I work for the Humsafar Trust. We work with the gay community in this country. We're the first organization that started work with the gay community. Aseem, one comment, when you said there are 500,000 people walking in the New York Pride, you started in 70s. So today, if we are 2,000, I'm proud of it. That we are 2,000 walking the streets of Bombay.
No, I totally understand. I just said that there is still the baby steps and they're wonderful baby steps. I'm not denying that.
I'm just making a comment. So I hope someday we'll be 500,000 on the streets of Mumbai. That's a great thing. Tarun, one question to you. I always wonder, how would Dostana work if John and Abhishek were actually a gay couple in the film?
I don't think, one, I'd get the budget for it. Two, I wouldn't get Abhishek John. And three, it wouldn't hit the theaters the way it did. Simple as that. You got to take, as he said, baby steps. Take them slowly. How do you know in the sequel I might get them, one of them at least, to be gay?
Because my concern is, that each time we are talking about gay and lesbian portrayals in, why this word New India cinema? Why it's always a Deepthi Naval, a Onir, who will not get money, who will fight it out, their film will not get a release. Memories in March got a release. I saw it on a Sunday evening show at, what's this place? In Orbit Mall. In an auditorium of 40, there were 10 of us. This was Sunday evening show. Sad. The film is the buzz. But it's always the initiatives, the baby steps are coming from filmmakers who really don't have access. And unfortunately, I look at you as someone who has access. I think probably if Dharma Productions wanted, John and Abhishek may have agreed to actually
I
play
know
the
what
gay
you're saying,
couple.
but I'm going to have to defend him on this. That's okay. Because it's not easy and we all know that. Okay, I don't think that he's going to be the sole person to be able to call the shots in this case. So you can't really...
It's not only that. It's a double-edged sword. It's not just about what I feel being a creative person that I want to give this message out. I'm using somebody else's money to do so. And it's a lot of money. At the end of the day, he's a businessman and might not have the same passion towards the subject that I do. And therefore, I would need to walk that edge where I get him returns on his money and at the same time I entertain an audience enough to let my message go through.
No, what I'm trying to say is that I look at, I'm not pinning him down. What I'm trying to say is I look at Dhamma Productions as a production house that has access to resources as opposed to Onir, who would go to, I think, how many, 500,000 people to raise 2 crores? And he doesn't have access. And yet he dares to do a film. And how much did you rake in?
Let's not talk about that.
No, my thing is that there are small filmmakers. See, I'm trying to make a comparison. There are filmmakers who don't have access, are still taking baby steps, losing their money, still making efforts to do it. And there are production houses which have access to big time money, but are not willing to take the risk.
Here's the comparison.
It's a risk.
Most of the films that have been spoken about over here are very sensitive, correct portrayals of the gay community and the queer community. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yet, most of them have only been seen at film festivals. Why? We have a certain society that is in the closet. You have to take it to them easily, step at a time. The best way to do it is humor. That's the only way. You shout it out from rooftops, everybody's going to turn their back on you. Take it slowly, let's have some fun with it. Over maybe 2 more films, we'll have great gay characters who are perfectly normal and all of that. No stereotypes or any of that. But give it time. That's all it requires. The big guys are getting into it. Just give them some time. A Brokeback Mountain at the end of the day happened just now after God knows how many years of them being out of the closet. Decades of them being out of the closet. They've had their first. Commercial success. Commercial. Give us time.
Aseem.
There's just been 3 big
Yeah.
Trans-America, Brokeback Mountain and
Philadelphia happened ages back.
Yeah, my name is
I just wanted
Sonal.
to add to that. I slightly, would like to differ from it. Like my brother Nikhil was my first film where the central protagonist was gay. We did at that point manage to get Yash Raj to release the film across the country. So it was not, none of my films have only been shown in festivals. It's been shown across the country. And I don't think the problem is just of people wanting to watch or not. It's also, today, like when one releases an IAM, it's not just about audience, it's also about distribution and exhibition, which is also controlled by the biggies. Today, when you have the concept of word of mouth, which these kind of films, require, that means that you go to the theater, people read the reviews, they will come maybe the next week. But the exhibition system does not allow you to be there the next week, which is something a big studio can hold on to. A film like I Am does not get released in Chandigarh because the exhibitor thinks there is no audience there. But for the last few months, I've been traveling. I've done that with my brother Nikhil, gone to remote places like Shillong, Andamans, everywhere. And with I Am, I've been traveling to Jamshedpur, Meerut, Agra, Dehradun, you name it. And I think you've been also a part of the festival, where people, it's always full. People in small towns have so many questions. It's just that today when you release a film in the theater, you have a Shah Rukh Khan film for 300, which, it's made for maybe 100 crores, and you have a Onir film for 300 bucks, which is made for 3 crores. It doesn't make sense. Why will someone not, so I think it's an entire system which is not allowing, and I feel big studios or production house can play a little bit more active role. They don't have to have the main characters. It could be just another important character who just happens to be gay, period. And that is something we totally see absent. The only characters who are really gay are always over the top and comical. Very rarely are they like you and me, normal people. Thank you.
Okay, one second. Can I just add in? Hi, I'm Sonal, and I work for an NGO, and I'm gay. And Tarun, while I'm very happy that you have made a film like Dostana, it's great that you brought it in as a discussion, drawing room discussion. But let us remember that it has also become a joke. Those 2 characters are a joke. They are inside there, we are talking, but काफी बड़ा मजाक बन गया है. जैसे कि like you know Onir has spoken, आप कहते हैं कि yes true then people will not come to see two gay characters, but nobody is asking you to make those two gay characters normal. You could always have one more person who could have been somebody very sensitive and very proud of their orientation, and it is important that you do not forget there are people like me, and for us this your big film is the only place where it is going to go to a big audience, and it is a portrayal of me. So next time please you know consider this and keep one sensitive character inside. Thank you.
In the film, yes, I understand when you say they were taken like a joke and all of that, but there is not one character in my film who is gay and is not proud of it. There is none of them. Baman is very proud about being gay. So is everyone. Fair enough, fair enough. But also understand that there's an Abhishek and John who in the world of the film are considered gay and totally straightforward. They are not playing camp, they are not playing queer, they're not playing anything. There is a certain side to it. If you look deep enough and you ask yourself the questions, yes, it is funny. That's the whole point of it, that I don't want to sit and say, be okay with being gay. That's not it. You, as an individual, if you have a choice towards a sexuality, the other person has a choice to say yes or no to it also. Let them also have their version. Let us say it slowly to them. In a while, they'll accept it. They're doing the part of the sensitive side. I need to achieve the masses. I need to achieve the masses slowly. I don't get killed by them so that nobody else ever has a chance again.
Okay.
One step at a time.
Okay, I have a question here. You know, we're sitting here and talking about why it can't be done. There's no distribution. Actors won't do it. Mainstream cinema won't allow it. My question is, for the longest time, mainstream cinema has used gay characters as an excuse for a joke. They have always been the limp-wristed sidekick who's laughed at. At what point does that stop being funny and start being offensive? For the longest time, the audience is happy to laugh at those characters. Why? And we're still saying that the audience will not accept a character who is gay and who's not a stereotype. At what point does that stop being funny? This is a question out of sheer sort of curiosity. It's not to, you know, Tarun is sort of representing Bollywood on this panel. It's not specifically aimed at you, but, you know, for the longest time we're seeing this and no one seems uncomfortable with this. Everyone's, all of these films, you're talking about blockbuster films. From the last blockbuster Bodyguard to time immemorial, there has been the sidekick gay character who has been a stereotype, and we've laughed at him and, you know, and laughed at that character and enjoyed it for the longest. And we're still saying that we're not sure whether mainstream cinema will accept a gay character sensitively, honestly, just matter-of-factly portrayed?
I actually, you know, Tarun, I enjoyed your film a lot. It was very funny. The point this lady is trying to make, and I agree with her point, is that there's a thin line, or actually a big line, difference between laughing at characters and laughing with them. And that's the issue that became with Dostana, where we were laughing at them. And what it does then is, and being a mainstream movie, and that was the one, I mean, unfortunately, Onir's film did not have that kind of wide release. I don't know when Dipti's film will even open. Sridhar has made some films which have not been released in theaters. Being a mainstream movie, there's a level of responsibility as a filmmaker, and I don't think you're necessarily breaking some major boundaries or something, or there's I don't know how Bollywood works, I don't live in this country. But I think there's a certain responsibility every filmmakers have to have, and I think that's the question she's trying to ask. But I did enjoy Dostana.
I totally agree that every one of us have a responsibility when we're putting a message out there. My version of it was not be okay with being gay. I'm okay with being gay and I don't give a damn whether you're okay with it or not. My message was, all you mothers out there who leave their children in the lurch, approve of them. And that's what my message was in this film. Beyond that, yeah, you laughed with them for a while, you laughed at them for a while. There was a time we all laughed at the Sardars for a while. They stood up, got upset. Now we don't laugh at them anymore. Now everyone can pull out a hand pump and we'll cheer at them. After that, then there was the Sindhis. We laughed at them. They are boring now. For a while, we'll laugh at the gays. It'll become boring for the audience, as Rajeev, you're asking. After a while, it will become offensive. After a while, they will get a wider audience. They will get a bigger budget and they will get a better distribution. But give it time. It doesn't happen overnight.
I just have one thing to add. Basically, apart from just being comic characters, but the other danger is them becoming negative characters. You know, I just saw Santosh Shivan's film yesterday, and the only person who is negative in the film is a homosexual guy. And for me, why do you carry this forward again, you know? And that's very dangerous for me. It could be...
You know, it's there's a double-edged sword, because one hand you're saying let's portray them as just normal people whose sexual identity happens to be gay. And there are regular people who are evil. This is one of them. When I'm writing, unfortunately, yes, I have to think of all of this every single time. That if he turns around and is a guy who abuses a lot, you're going to have a mass audience running around and thinking that this is how they are. You have to be careful of those things, unfortunately. At the same time, we want them to be normal people who can abuse as and when as we do. It's slowly, again, you've got to just take it one step at a time, portray them well, do it well, not in your face, don't thrust it over there. And hopefully, as time passes by with more work coming out, everyone's going to be okay with it and wanting to see more sensitive stuff. And will be tired of the comic crap, including me.
In India with my same-sex partner. And there's an effect that these positive portrayals, negative portrayals have on people. And we've seen this throughout the world. In my home country of the United States, which I can't live in anymore, it's not that progressive. But if I'm going to be with the person I love, I can't live there. But there's an effect of these portrayals. And I'd really like to, thank Sridhar and Onir. In my own life, it's made a big difference to be able to look at your works and know that it's possible to live a normal life with my partner here.